Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome back to another Ramble from old Bubba at Bubba's EDC. I haven't done one of these in, I don't know, at least a week. They gotta put a stop sign there because people drive like crazy people through here. Hope you're all doing well. Thank God it's Friday. I might have done one last Friday. I think I remember saying hallelujah, it's Friday. It's been a week. A tough week mentally for me. Not complaining. Sorry you can't see me, but I'm here. But just reality, and not looking for no sympathy. You don't need to say, hey, sorry for you, or this and this. It's just life, you know. I've been very blessed in my life that normally, I say 95+% of the time, everything rolls off my back. It might be higher percentage than that. But normally, I can just compartmentalize, or I just don't even get to a certain point in my head, because I've just never been that kind of person. I've always been a little bit of a reactionary. I used to have a real bad temper. The Lord has really helped me with that over the years. I don't react the way I used to. I would just lose it on somebody. I would never hit anybody, never put hands on anybody. I would turn around and hit a wall, hit a door, you know, things like that. Years ago when I was younger. I'm over 40, I can say, when I was younger. But, you know, this week, it's so stupid and so petty. I don't know if petty's the right word. We'll go with that, for lack of a better term, this early in the morning. It's so stupid and insignificant, you know, what kind of made me snap the other day. And I didn't snap on anybody, but a couple things happened back to back within like 5 to 10 minutes at two different places of business where I was trying to get something done. And these people didn't know me, I didn't know them, but for whatever reason, I was at that point from, you know, exhaustion, frustration, stress, all these things, that inside I just kind of had something snap. And I felt the thoughts that came in my head were not good. And the way I felt about these strangers was not good. And I felt myself going to a dark place. You know, confession's good for the soul. And I was so upset. But I realized what was happening. And so I had left the office to handle some business, to handle something for the car. And when this stuff happened, I texted my boss. I said, hey, I had went, because he had went to a customer. And so, you know, I don't have to let him know when I leave to go get lunch or something, or run an errand. I was like, hey, I had left to go do this. I was like, but I gotta go. Something came up or something, I forget what I said. It was very short, very blunt. And he texted me later, all right, man, you know, all good. Hope you let me know, whatever, something, I forget. And so I left. And I went home. My wife still had kids at the house she was teaching. And there was a grown-up there who I didn't want to see. Normally, I don't want to see this person. So I clicked the garage door opener, I went in the garage. I closed the garage door and walked around through the dark to my chair I have in front of my computer, which is off. I leave it off unless I'm working on my laser or my CNC. And I just sat, I put on some music, and I just sat in the dark, breathing. And I don't know, 10, 15 minutes later, I heard the door from the garage to the house open up. And I never opened my eyes. I just had my eyes closed. I might have had my hands on top of my head, you know, kind of like one of these deals. I don't remember. And the door opened, and then nothing. No light coming on, nobody talking. And then ever so quietly, a few seconds later, you hear the door slowly shutting and going against the weather stripping or whatever, you know, the gasket, whatever it is around the door. And then it click and shut. And I was like, I don't know who that was. I still don't know. It was one of my kids. I guess they were coming down to see what Dad was doing. And me sitting in the dark was a sign that Dad needs to be left alone, I guess. Yeah, just one of them things, you know. It's I talked to my boss about it because like him and I, we talk, you know, we're buddies, and we talked about it that night. We were texting back and forth later that night, and I let him know what happened. I gave him the details, and then we talked about it the next day. We talked about it Wednesday. That was Monday night. We talked about it at work on Wednesday too. And I was like, man, I said, I feel like, and I used the word sissy. And I said, I feel like, you know, such a sissy, and essentially, I didn't use the words less than, but essentially a less than. He's like, brother, he's like, you absolutely don't need to feel that way. He said, it's called being human. He's like, everybody has a breaking point. Everybody will have a moment or moments where something will just push them over the edge. He's like, it can be something, you know, as small as, you know, metaphorically a feather, light as a feather, that can be the straw that broke the camel's back, so to speak. He's like, you don't need to feel bad for that. He's like, all that you're doing here at work, and then you've got a family, and you've got church responsibilities, you know, and all these things. He's like, you absolutely don't need to feel that way. And I told him, I was like, well, I appreciate that, you know, but it was weird for me because I've never had that kind of situation. So yeah, so that was interesting. But he told me Monday night, he's like, if you want to take tomorrow off, take it off. He's like, we don't get a truck on Tuesday. So I was like, you know what, I'll take you up on that. So I took Tuesday off. I did some errands for my wife, some grocery shopping, and did a few little things, and just relaxed. Yeah. Not saying any of that for sympathy, but maybe that'll, you know, maybe there's somebody else who went through a situation, you know, and they felt like they should have been able to, you know, compartmentalize or whatever. We can't always do that. Sometimes, you know, we have to let it out. And, you know, even though I didn't have any outward displays of emotion, aggression, anything like that, you know, no screaming, hollering, no yelling, no anger, outward anger. I talked it out with someone. I talked it out with my son as well. My son's a very good listener, my 18-year-old, and I just let him know, you know, I said, look, Dad's struggling right now, and I talked to him about some things, and so he, you know, sometimes he didn't need to give advice. He didn't give advice. I didn't expect him to, but I was just letting him know, you know, because he's very, what's the word? Perceptible? Is that the word? Perceptive? He notices things, whatever that word is. English was not my major, let me tell you. He noticed these things, and so if I wouldn't have talked about it, he wouldn't have bothered me about it. But maybe it would have concerned him, So me talking to him about it, maybe it helped. It helped me. Hopefully it helped him as well. But, through it all, like I said, a tough week mentally. But through it all, God is good. And I'm thankful to make it this far. All right. That's all for the seriousness. We will move on to other things. Cutters, things like that. So, I did a trade with a brother. I got his trade on Wednesday. He got mine yesterday. So I'll probably do a video tonight. And then I did another trade with a brother, good friend, good buddy, best buddy. So y'all know who that is. But he hasn't got his yet because he sent my part of the trade down with some friends when they came down for the youth banquet last weekend. And I sent my part of the trade back with them for him. Well, then that friend was not going back home for a whole week because he had preached for 2 different churches in another state. So he still don't have his yet, but I'm going to go ahead and show it as well. I really like it. I really, really do. Very, very cool. I love the one from the other brother too. Love it too. And so I did make a decision. I did in a couple of Instagram chats. I did post my Frontier knives for sale. I mistakenly posted a couple that were gifts to me. So I'm going to pull those out. I know there's at least 1, maybe 2 that were gifts. The rest were trades or purchases. So I've already sold 2. One was a trade, one was a purchase that I had done. So those are already sold. They're here in a box beside me, getting shipped out today. And you may ask why I'm doing it, because I've been so hard up to get all the Frontiers. And my wife asked me last night, she's like, is this something you're going to be upset about in a couple of months? And I just smiled. I said, look, I was like, yes, I want to collect all the Frontiers. And yes, some of these are very hard to get because they were only made in 1 year, 1976, especially to get in good condition. But ultimately, I want to put more money in the bank for the Disney trip. So, like, Disney is paid for. The tickets are done. Now it's just money for, the gas, the food, some souvenirs, so I know how much. I don't know why I'm telling y'all. This is too much information. Being too transparent. But anyways, I know how much I can pull out for my checks October and November. And yes, that would work, but this is like the trip of a lifetime for my family. So want it to be as good as possible. So I don't want it to be, we can't do this, can't do this, can't do that. Because this is all cash, no credit cards. This is just cash. We ain't doing no credit cards. So if we don't have it in the bank, we ain't doing it. That's the way I want to do it. So that's why I made the decision to sell the Frontiers, and I'm gonna sell some other stuff. So if there's interest among the YouTube community, I will do a video showing the ones that I'm gonna sell. The only way I will do trades, is basically like if it's let's say a $50 knife, a trade would have to be valued higher than the 50, because I'm looking, for a fair market value cash. And I know a lot of people do that. They'll say, it's 50 cash, 75 trade, or whatever. Saw that on Knife Doctor's video the other day, if y'all saw that, when they were looking at all them knives on the back of that guy's truck. I think that was Mr. Ken. So if y'all are interested, you let me know. So the Frontiers are for sale, minus a couple, but y'all don't know which one, so I'll just pull those out. One of them is the most recent one I got, and it's already gone. Brother bought it last night. But that's all good, because I made the decision to do it. And I can always, go down the Frontier rabbit hole again. It was fun doing it. Lord knows I am leaning more towards, case stuff and wanting to find birth year stuff. And I would love some vintage at some point, some like legit vintage, like some, 40 to 64 case, 64 to 69 case. I'd love to have some old red bone. I've never had any old red bone. So, yeah. Also, I may post like that blue and white Winchester for sale, the Remington Banana Trapper, which is called the Master Guide, that's in the box with paperwork. I may post that for sale. I know I'm going to post some of the salty stuff for sale. So, yeah, if you're interested, let me know and I'll do a video, post it. Otherwise, I'll just try to sell it on Instagram. I don't want to do, eBay because of fees. A couple of them I could probably do on All About Pocket Knives. There's just no guarantee how quick that would go. And, basically I would need it gone in a month and a half, which realistically they would probably sell within that time. But yeah, so there might be people who don't like me talking like this, talking about this stuff. Look, it's not a hard up for money thing. It's just putting family first and setting, pushing my selfishness and my desires aside for family, because family is my priority over knives, absolutely. So y'all can reach out if there's something you've seen on a video that you are interested in. You can reach out and let me know, and I will gladly tell you yay or nay. Yeah. All right, so that's that business. Let's see what else. Carrying. I've carried the same thing all week. I've kept it simple, because this is going to sound funny. I told John from J.O. Venture, y'all check his channel out if you haven't already. I'm sure if you're watching me, you're watching John. Great channel, great guy, great leather worker, just awesome guy. His voice is so relaxing and so soothing. I just really like John. But we were talking about, something about carrying. I forget. I think it was John. Yeah. And I said, look, sometimes, I was like, I'll sit there in front of my knives and look for 10 minutes trying to figure out what I'm going to tote. I said, I was like, and this week, mentally, I didn't want to do that. So this whole week, I've carried my Spyderco Para 3, and I've carried the Victorinox Mechanic Swiss Army knife. And it's been perfectly fine. I haven't carried any extra leather, anything. No slips this week outside of my pocket cross slip from Jerry. Yeah, it's been nice not to think about it, because, you know, if y'all remember, I used to post pictures. If you follow me on Instagram, I posted, whenever I post my carry pictures, there would always be a different hank, because sometimes I would try to make stuff, you know, match, color coordinate, stuff like that. It got to be too much, you know. It's been nice toting the same stuff for a week. Now, the Victorinox, I do need to strop it. I might need to even put it on the ceramic rod, because it didn't want to slice through like a Post-it note yesterday. But it still cuts. It's just not slicey like I want it to be. So I need to do that, either ceramic rod or strop. But yeah, it's been nice toting just 2 knives. It has. On a different note than knives, I carry a Glock 19. For those of you who are gun guys, and those of you who know what that is, Glock 19 is the smaller version of the world famous Glock 17. Smaller slide, which means, you know, shorter slide, shorter barrel, and shorter mag well, which is 2 less rounds, so it carries 15 rounds in the mag versus 17. Love the Glock 19, have absolutely no complaints about it, about the gun itself. Oh, really? I swear. Yeah, let me back up, because Lord knows you ain't gonna stop, you in this trailer, you moron. Sorry. But anyways, so love the Glock 19. My problem is that I'm fat. So sometimes it will, I'm at a gas station. Sometimes it will, you know, jab me in the side a little bit when I'm carrying inside the waistband. So I would love to get a Glock 43. So Glock 43 is thinner than a 19. It's shorter this way than a 19, and it's shorter this way, height-wise, than a 19. It's less rounds. I think it's 10 or 12 rounds instead of 15. But look, if you can't take somebody out with that many rounds, you probably ain't gonna survive it anyways. So I will be looking for one of those after the new year. I'm not getting rid of the 19. I've bought and sold a lot of guns over the years. You know, working at the pawn shop, I get good deals on guns, and I'd buy them for a good price, and then I'd flip them. I made pretty good money flipping some guns back in the day. But now I just want to get another one. So, you know, I want to have another one. I need to get an AR, because I don't have an AR. And I want to get a hunting rifle, even though I don't hunt. But who knows where this country is going to go, you know. You might have to go out hunting at some point just to survive. And then I want to get a good home defense shotgun and maybe a revolver. And then I'd be good. So 2 Glocks, revolver, AR, shotgun, hunting rifle. 6 guns would be like the ideal, I think, for me. My buddy, he's got, Lord knows, 20 or 30. That'd be great, but I don't have that kind of disposable income. Anyways, that's it for today. I'm gonna let y'all go. I just drank me a whole cup of coffee before I got on here with y'all. So I'm running here and get me a Diet Mountain Dew or a Monster. I don't know which one I'm gonna get yet, but I'm early today. I don't know how I got over here so early. I'm 18 minutes early at work. Is that right? 10 minutes early. This clock in this car stays wrong. Anyways, love y'all. God bless you. Y'all be good. We'll talk to you next time. Remember, do something kind for someone else. It goes a mighty long way. I'm Bubba.